so at the campfire. The boys are eating as though they are really enjoying it. The Post Oak Mission School was started in 1948. The first year the classes were conducted in the old clubhouse at the mission. The next year the new building was under construction. For 2 years the basement was used while the rest of the building was completed. One day we received enough snow for the children to build a snowman. They also enjoyed throwing snowballs at their favorite girlfriends, and the teachers. Leo Hines, the gentleman helping them, was a volunteer, a serviceman. He was our maintenance man and bus driver at the school. Here he is helping the school kids making a snowman. Miss Copper was our teacher for 2 years. Later, she was sent to Africa, where she served as missionary under the MB Mission Board for many years. Sister Sue has her own project. Another camp meeting, resting after the work was done. Young people took care of their younger brothers and sisters. Water had to be carried from the central faucet across the road from the camp. Between meetings, Herman A. Snap and Deacon Hoto in a friendly discussion. The large yard of the main residence served as softball diamond, where many a game provided exercise and fun for the kids. A view of the tents, brush arbors, trailers, and wagons. This was the time before camp trailers and mobile trailers. The arms of a big brother are not as comfortable as my bed at home, but so what? When I'm dog-tired, even this will do. Josiel Hova and a friend. Aldine Cowino serves cold drinks at lunchtime. Here is Bill Tennicker carrying his daughter, Linda Colleen. You're looking into Pete Coffey's tent, where a family is gathering around the table. Here is Herman A. Snap with his grandchildren. Rhoda's twin girls, Darlene and Arlene. More tables are needed in the dining hall. The girls are taking care of the problem. Reverend Gilbert, missionary from the Dio Mission, visiting our meetings. These men are visiting while waiting for the next session under the big top. The people are leaving the church after a Sunday morning service. These Comanche ladies are wearing their warm, lovely shawls. These all are God's people who have experienced renewal as they listen to the messages shared in singing together and praying, as well as feasting together around the table. Such was Comanche life as the movie cameras saw it. Mr. Kofelt told us of the early years of the mission, when his folks came to the Comanche field in 1895, they built the first buildings that you see on this picture, and they worked there for 12 years. During this period, Mrs. Kofelt became ill, and they had to leave the mission field. They were replaced by A.J. Beckers. During these early years, two ladies came to be helpers and served for a number of years. These were Maria Regier, later became Mrs. D.C. Peters, and Katrina Penner, later Mrs. Henry Suderman. The Beckers were missionaries at Post Oak Mission for approximately 35 years. Others ministering at the mission station after the Beckers left were Mr. and Mrs. J.S. Dick, Mr. and Mrs. Clarence Fast, and the J.J. Weebies. Annie Hebert Gomez and her husband Joe served at Post Oak from 1909 until their retirement. During Christmas vacation 1945, Linda and I visited the mission for the first time. 13 miles west of Lawton, we turned north onto a dirt road which led us to the mission. Fortunately, Cache Creek did not overflow that day, otherwise we would not have made it to the mission. It was Christmas time, and the mission activities centered around the church. A huge cedar tree was brought in and placed in the corner of the church. It was nicely decorated, just the way we decorated our own trees. On Christmas Eve, during the day, people began bringing gifts and placing them under the tree. Gifts, small and large. Even pieces of furniture were placed around the tree. Finally, they tied cards and greenbacks onto the tree. When we inquired for the reason for all of the gifts, greetings, and money, we were told that the Indian people had not known the meaning of Christmas. The missionaries asked the parents to bring gifts for their children, which were handed out on Christmas Eve at the close of the children's program. With this giving as an object lesson, they taught about God's love in giving His Son to us to be our Savior. This is the house that Mr. Kofelt built with the help of men from Corn, Oklahoma. The Kofelts lived in this house until later the larger residence was built for the Beckers when they arrived. This is the clubhouse, which was built for other activities like the Women's Sewing Circle and for Sunday school classes. Later, a home for the Gomez's was also built. One of the first members of the mission we met in 1945 was Tope. Tope was the youngest wife of Chief Quanah Parker when he was living. Her husband was the chief of the Comanches and was the one who had given the land to the Mennonite Brethren Conference 50 years earlier. Quanah and his family lived about 3 miles east of the mission. This was Chief Quanah's home. The outside of this house was badly in need of repair, but the inside was kept up and neatly decorated. In 1956, it was moved to Cache, Oklahoma, and remodeled into a museum. Sam Nohand Mowat was the first Comanche to embrace Christianity at Post Oak Mission. He, along with 6 women, were baptized, and the church was formed with these 7 members and the missionaries. With this picture and those that follow, we want to introduce to you many of the members, missionaries, and friends of Post Oak Mission. From left to right, you see Nohand Mowat, Beaver, Joe Nido, Baldwin Parker, and Reverend and Mrs. A.J. Becker. No hand in the hospital sometime later, being visited by members of his family, Ellis, Parker, and other friends. Herman A. Snapp, first interpreter for Mr. Becker and later a Bible teacher. Shibata. James was an interpreter and a Bible teacher. Pete and Maggie Coffey. Pete was a deacon and song leader at Post Oak Mission. Resting at the church during noon break. We have from left to right Pete Coffey, James Shibata, Tommy Asatami, standing Bill Hernessy, and Mooney Shibata. A four-generation picture. On the extreme left, we see Old Man Pachika, his daughter, Mary Cable, Mary's daughter, Virgie, and Virgie's baby. Two couples. On the outside, James Pidani, better known as Two Dogs, and Nike. On the inside, the couple are Oscar Yellow Wolf and Wyma. Here we see Oscar Yellow Wolf in full regalia. The older church women on Easter Sunday. Aha is sitting in front. You try naming the rest of them. A smaller group on Mother's Day. Mrs. Nita Birdsong, daughter of Quanah Parker, Madichai, Tatsi, Mrs. Takoni, and Aha. Another group made up of Nike, Mrs. Gomez, Mrs. D.C. Peters, and Madichai. The church bus bringing people to church, 1949.